Seder Beraishis is a very interesting seder. In other words, we have very little time to Mimava said. This year, Simchas Torah was Tuesday. All right, so we had Wednesday, Thursday. Okay, but still, for a big seder like Beraishis, you really need a lot of time. And we don't get it. I'm just wondering if the reason the Beraishis doesn't want us to have too much time in Beraishis, because there are too many Yesodis with the Bria that's really upper realm. It's not stuff for the regular guy. The guy reaches Beraishis, then he can learn it. Doesn't reach it, just be Mavaseder. Because it is, I'm going to try to discuss a little bit what I don't understand. Okay, we have a mission in Ovis. The world was created with 10 Vayomers. They ask Kasha, there's only 9 Vayomers. Beraishis is also Vayomer. Okay, gotta understand what that means. Beraishis, as far as I know, means in the beginning. In the beginning, how's that a Vayomer? In the beginning of time, in the beginning of the beginning. Whatever it means, doesn't seem to say anything. Secondly, I sat down and I counted. I landed up talking with 9 Vayomers. But the problem with the 9 Vayomers are Nas Odom Mitzalmenu. Nas Odom Mitzalmenu is not a Vayomer. It's not a command. It's saying is, let us do this. It's not saying happen. It's not a thing this. And then who said it's a creation? Then you really have 3 more. Not Ma'aseh Beraishis. It was after the Nachash. That is that you have that obviously the world changed, and because of it, but it didn't change with any real change of Bria. What it changed was in how things were going to work. In other words, the Nachash was transformed. The woman had additional tzolus. The man had to work for a living. But there were no creations made with those 3. So we really counting again, really about 8. And I still don't understand it. Now, in Vayas, there are 3 Vayas. He made the heavens. He made the Taninim. I made the Moirish, and he made the Chayes Horetz. And then he said he created the Taninim and the person. And they're not counted. I will make him as a Kenegda. Again, doesn't say anything over there. And Vayiven, he built the woman. So I guess, and these are not counted. So I can't answer you any of these questions of why it is yes and these not. But one thing I want to accomplish, that Beraishis does not mean the way Rashi says it, not like Uncle says it, because that Kashi, how does that show a command? So I want to say this is the translation. And this will answer many questions. Beraishis, with the word Rashis, he created Shemayim v'Oretz. What do you mean he created Shemayim v'Oretz? He didn't say what should be created with it. So we see in Kabbalah Shabbos, Seif Maaseh B'Machshavet Tchila, that even by God, there's some kind of a concept of thought and action. And therefore, if he would have sat down and said Beraishis, he would envision what he wants Beraishis to look like, and then say be, that's exactly what would happen. So Beraishis, with the word Beraishis, begin. What does begin mean? That's my imagination. Beraishis is the one that tells you what to happen. So therefore, it is a word of what do you call it, of creation. So therefore, it makes maybe sense. Now the Rambam in Pirkei Avos goes through the Indian. That everything was created in 6 days, 7 days. That's what was created. And everything after that is based on that creation. So the Rambam goes into explaining that what all the physical parts of the world were created in the Seishis and Beraishis, and that would mean that, let's say, water flows, doesn't solidify. Okay, if it doesn't solidify, he's got a kasha. What do we do with Kriyas Yamsuf? So he says the Beraishis made it tonight in Kriyas Yamsuf that this one thing will take place, that one time it will solidify. Okay. I think then the Goyin's pshat is a little better, or at least more sense, as I say. The Goyen says, what do you mean that the water dried up? It became ice. In other words, the Beraishis made that water will become hardened by ice. And therefore now you can walk on it. Now you can do anything you want on it. That's the point that makes. And therefore, once you have that creation already, it can be done many times over and over again. Water will freeze, and that's it. So you have it by the Yardin, you have it by the Yardin by Pinchas ben Yoel 3 times. So there are things that happen with this thing. Also, if you take a look in the Ani Maimons, the Beinei Shalom is the Beire and the Manik. He's the creator, and he runs the world. What do you mean he runs the world? He runs the world by what he created. So I'll try to explain maybe what the Baruch Yotza means. We make a Baruch Yotza and go to the bathroom. So what does it say? God makes a bunch of pipes, and he closes one, he opens one, whatever it is he feels. That's how he controls us. We are open pipes. Once a heart attack, he makes a blockage in the artery, you're dead. He wants you to have some other problems, he does it in the urinary tract. Wants you to have other problems, he does it in the kishkis. Doesn't make a difference. The Beraishis, you are open pipes. He controls you by that. How does he control the world? Very simply. He has continental plates underneath things. He wants to destroy some land. He smashes it, and all of a sudden you got an earthquake. He wants to build some stands. He smashes it, and you get something built up. And he's got earthquakes, and he's got things like that. You have volcanoes, and stuff like that. So all of these things you create through things that he already made in Seishis and Beraishis. He did not create anything new that is a new thing that could be done. Could he do it? Of course he could do it if he wanted to. Did he want to? For whatever reason, he didn't want to. So he made it in the beginning of the Beraishis. These are the ways I touch it. And it's an interesting thing. We say, "Hamacharish b'chol yom tomid tov." He creates all the daily things every day. Now, that's pretty funny. You know, it runs to the second, to the minimal second, whatever you want to put. The world. And yet you say God makes it over again. So you can say what it means is he resets the alarm clock every day. Okay, resets the alarm clock. Why does he need that? I don't know. But he does that again in the sequence that was created in the Shesmei Beraishis. He doesn't do anything new that was not in Shesmei Beraishis, but yet everything that he creates every single day is new. Whatever the brachos and Harav mean, whatever these brachos mean, that he puts out the stars and he makes the he rolls in the dark, he rolls in the light. What does it mean? They're all said already. It's not so posh. So I say, I don't know what it means. I don't know the purpose of it, but that's what we learn. Okay. So these are the. So this, I think, answers a lot of the kashas, and therefore, it now answers the question of one. You have a story, the Gemara, that when what's his name, Ptolemy, translated the Torah into Greek. So he separated all the Talmidei Chacham. He didn't keep one next to the other. No help one from the other. Usually, if you want to translate something good, you try to get some kind of consensus of what it means. And here he seemed to try to break, because he wanted to show that, you see, you don't all agree, and therefore it's all false. Doesn't make a difference. That was his reason for translating the Bible. He wasn't doing it because he wanted the Bible available to people. And it says that they made a bunch of miracles happen, that they all made 13 or 11, I remember, changes that they all 70 thought of exactly the same thing to change. And one of them was, instead of Beraishis Bara Elokim, it says Elokim Bara Beraishis. So what does that help me? Is Beraishis a God? So Elokim Bara Beraishis? That's what they're translating it to me. That has no meaning at all. Now, again, Elokim Bara Beraishis. God created with Rashis, right? So therefore, God is the one that created Rashis. But Beraishis, with the word Rashis, Bara Elokim, whoever was created God, then you have a Avodah Zarah. So therefore you want to do it.
Anytime you translate, that's a change. If you just look at the Art School translation, Beraishis Bara Elokim, in the beginning God created. That is the way it.
That's what I'm telling you. It's not wrong. That's what I'm telling you. No, I can't say it's wrong because Rashi says it. Targum says it.
I mean, how did even it change the way they translate? When you translate Hebrew into another language, if any language, syntax has to change, a tense or whatever. I don't know, like
why can't I learn it the way I just said it? With Rashis, he created the world.
Right, but why isn't that just not a regular translation? Why is that a she?
Why is it not a regular?
Why is it she?
I think that is the true translation.
Oh, I understand that. I agree. I'm just
yes, I'm saying so. The difference is who's the one that's creating God.
Art School doesn't translate Beraishis Bara Elokim. Beraishis
Beraishis Bara Elokim. With Rashis, he created God. Who did that?
Right.
And Avodah Zarah. So therefore they had to change it. So they said it, Elokim Bara Beraishis. Became created with Beraishis. But Beraishis is not a God.
I agree.
Yes.
I just think that not everything is a change. They
Yeah.
would say Chazal made a change.
Okay,
It's the
good.
way
But that's what they made. Okay. And he says, first ones he made a light. And the end of light, that means there's darkness. Right? Rashi brings down that in the first 7 days of Beraishis, he brings it down on the fourth day, that the light and the dark rule together. Light and dark don't rule together. Light and dark becomes gray. Right? So how they rule together? So the Shiva said it means that light is made for rejuvenation, darkness is made for rest. A person can put himself in dark places all the time, or he can put himself in light places all the time. That's the two things he can do. So therefore, that was the choice. They existed at the same time. Oh, there wasn't a mixture of the two. It was two distinct places. Okay. Then the Beraishis made the heavens. We don't know what that is, period. We know read Chumash. See the two waters, water above the Rikiya and water below the Rikiya. What's the Rikiya? The firmament. What's the firmament? The sky. What's the sky? I don't know. What? You have planets, you have constellations, you have a lot of things there in between this part. So whatever it means, that was created probably in the Wednesday, or brought out to the fact, whatever, however you want to learn, like the Rashi, the Ramban, that each thing was brought out separately, or each thing was created at one time and then just brought out into the place of the earth. But it doesn't make a difference. Read, Mars has water tracks, right? I read it, how many years ago, I don't remember how many years ago I read it, but, right, Mars probably had water. Okay, oh, the Torah was false. The Torah says there's no water on Mars. I said, I don't know if it says it or not. But the first thing is, I don't know of any water there now. I don't know of any water there now. I don't have to make up that looks like water. That's a theory. That's not water. That's not a fact. That's a thing. It's a theory. And if it would be proven, then I'll have to think a different shot in the plastic. That's all. The Torah doesn't become false because science comes up with some kooky shita. But we just have to learn different shit. So, okay. Now, it's interesting. It says, the first day was called Yom Echad, not Yom Rishon. And the reason it's called Yom Echad, because the only one that was there that day was the Beraishis. So, you look at the Torah and you see all he did on the second day was make the Rikiya. Big deal. What's the big deal of a Rikiya? I have no idea what it meant. All he had to do was say it, so what difference it make, right? The pshat is like this. He did other things. He made the whole Olam HaElyon on the second day. He made all the Malochim and all the that whole whatever it is over there. that he made. And that day, he cut off the Olam HaElyom and the Olam HaTachton, that a person from the bottom can't reach the top anymore. You can't even get there. And even on Moshe Rabbeinu, they say he never went up to Shemayim. He only went up part of his body up. Because a person can't reach into the heavens. Okay. I want to tell you that's the type of why a Monday baby, as the Gemara says, is an angry baby. Levi. That he's an angry baby in Shabbos. Why? Because he's limited. Not angry. It was a very unfair thing. You're making certain people angry, giving them meat as soyas. How do you expect them to react? I didn't give them meat as soyas. I gave them frustration. Frustration makes them build, makes them want to grow. And therefore they try to get beyond what they're limited to. Okay. Then the Beraishis said, all the water should go in one space. According to the way the pasuk says, the whole world was covered with water. If you're going to pull away the water, see the land, where are you going to put this extra water? The water is bigger than the land. Right? Because it surrounds the land. So obviously it's bigger than the land. So where are you putting it? He says you put it into the water. Now I understand the ice caps. Some extra water, but he didn't want to float to destroy the world. So he froze it. And it's in the ice caps. And therefore, when he wants to drown the world, he is able to melt it. And that he did in the Dar of Enish, which we'll learn later. And 1/3 of the world was covered. 1/3 of the ground was sank. I guess what it means is, like, if the world goes up, they say a degree or two, I don't know what it is, Florida will disappear because there are no mountains in Florida. So pretty much seashore, 300 feet, I think, is the highest point in Florida. So there's no more Florida. Why? Because the world got warmer. It got colder. And obviously you have more land. Okay. Now I'm going to brag a little bit. And he talks about that there was that kindness rose and sank the world. What's kindness? I don't know. Right? My grandson was learning to read. He was 2 years old. And he had a question. He asked my wife a question. He says, does C have two sounds? What does that mean? It says because it has a picture of a cat. It's K. And then he has a picture by ocean of sea, and the C is the second letter, and it's ocean. It's not open. And all of a sudden it hit me. It's not ocean. It's okean. We're just pronouncing it wrong. It's okean is the word, and which is the Greek and Russian Roman word for the seas, Oceanus or Okeanus. So that's what kindness is, not Atlantic, not Pacific, not anything else. When I went to school, my teacher told me it was Atlantic. Now, it made sense. There are no islands in the Atlantic, so the Atlantic is higher than all other oceans. by the Panama Canal, you need well, you have to load a boat every time because the Atlantic Ocean is about 30 feet higher than the Pacific Ocean. And the just thing is, you have to be able to get it there. And it's also around the Strait of Magellan. That's where the whole thing of Magellan, that he was was able to do it, is the first one to be able to do it because the waters clash over there. And they're very high and they're very stormy. And he was able to get through. But it had nothing to do with Atlantis. It was the what he did. Okay. Then he has an Indian with a Beraishis got even with the land, and they didn't do the right thing, the land. He said that he commanded the land to make trees that will produce fruit, that will be able to produce trees that will produce fruit. And he wanted it to do it in a way that taste the same. The food, the tree and the fruit taste exactly the same. What do we have like that in the world? Which is the esli tree, the only one like that, and the pepper and the pepper tree. The white pepper is the bark, and the black pepper is the fruit. So you have to taste the same, but they're two different things. And the earth only listened in those two cases. It did not listen to the rest of the fruit. And because of that, when the Beraishis gave a klala to the Marishan over that the land, that the land should be cursed, it's because the land didn't listen. In other words, you can do things. I listened. I technically listened. I did what you told me. Oh, I didn't do it the way you wanted me to do it. I did it this way. That's not good enough. So that the Beraishis can take the command. But you don't really have a complaint. Because what did you do wrong? I listened. But you didn't listen. That's the difference. Okay.
What does that mean the ground didn't listen? How does the ground not be able to listen? What does that mean that the ground didn't listen? How is the ground not able to listen to Hashem?
Just like I tell a kid, do this. I did it. I did what I want you to do. I tell you, put away all your toys. I put away one toy. Okay. I didn't say the word all. Put away your toys. Put away my toys.
She says in Azinu.
Huh?
Azinu seems to say they have free choice, right?
Yeah. Well, you didn't have it yet until the Beraishis made it. Put it in Star Hashem and we Kim. Okay. Now, there's an Indian by the sun and the moon, that if the sun is like it, that means when there's you black out the sun, an equinox, eclipse, man. As an eclipse, that means the world is being punished. When it's in the moon, it's the Jews are being punished. What does that mean? First of all, you don't have a total solar eclipse or total. It has to be in certain parts of the world. Can't be at the same time, different parts. So obviously, then we're talking about that part of the world. Now, that part of the world, it's very hard to say that's a time of punishment if it's preordained, the time. You can figure out exactly when an eclipse will take place. So it's simple mathematics. It has nothing to do with nisim and stuff. All of us, what must mean Pshat, that it's a siman. In other words, it's a time of peroneus. You're not chayiv anything, you don't get punished. But punishment comes at certain times. You don't get a free ride forever. In other words, so when an eclipse comes, that's the punishment time. You don't deserve punishment, you won't get it. That's what I think it means. And it will go on the particular part where the actual eclipse is.
Can you run away from your cronies? So can you run away?
Could be. I have no idea. I don't know if you can run that fast.
You know it's coming.
You know it's coming to this
Yes,
area.
it then don't be here. That could be. Now, the Beraishis made, when it came to the birds, so the birds are made out of rakak. Rakak means mud. So mud, you have to shecht one siman. Behemoths were made out of earth. You have to shecht two simanim. Fish are made out of liquid. Therefore, you don't have to shecht at all. Those are the things. The taninim is something which I don't know what they are, but obviously it's something the Reuven is supposed to love Yosa, and he plays with it, but then whatever it means, I don't know. But we'll see what I mean at the end of the seder. Thank you. Okay. Okay. The Reuven created man, which was man and woman together. However, it was formed, I don't know, back and forth or whatever it is, side by side. I assume it was back and forth. But the idea is obviously it was an awkward way of communication. And it says he saw everything that there was. And he toiv moed. The Yalkut says, what's the word moed mean? Moed is the Malach HaMavos. Should have said vayitoiv. It's good. Moed, very good. So I want to tell you, what do you mean Malach HaMavos is good? Malach HaMavos is good. Because if you don't have a Malach HaMavos, there's nobody tries to grow. All the jobs are taken. Other Mauritian is the Elam, is Melech Elam. That's it. There's nothing more for anybody else to get involved in, whatever it is there. So in order to make someone has to replace Other Mauritian, it has to be this. The Mauritian has to die. So at that time, Other death was made. Okay. Now Hashem Elokim made Eretz Shemayim. So it says all over more Vayom Elokim, Midas Hadin. Midas Hadin can't exist. Why can't it exist? Of course it can exist. But the idea is either the guy's dead or he's too scared to move, to do anything wrong. So he has no free choice. And the only way you can give a person free choice is if it doesn't happen right away. It happens in time. Therefore, that's why very well he came. When he gave him free choice, and then she made free choice. And whatever it means, however, the Rambam touches it up to make free choice versus, what do you call it? That the Beraishis knows, but it's possible, as the Rambam says. I have other thoughts, but it's not negated from here. Okay. And he made a gun, and in this gun, he put the person there to be l'avdol l'shama. Now they have to work the food, and then since there were only one animal at that time, they were both together, so it didn't yet change. When the Beraishis split them, he made the man to work it and the woman to guard him. What does that mean, to guard him? Okay. And he told them that you can eat from all the trees in the garden, except the Eitz Hadas, you can't eat from. But from the Eitz HaChaim, you can eat. So let's understand something. And then he says also, he should have an Ezer Kenegdoi, whatever it is. What do you mean by an Ezer Kenegdoi? An Ezer Kenegdoi means a woman is made to constantly be the argumentative part of the man, because they don't agree. But if you're Zeiche, they'll do what if you want to do good, she'll help you. You want to do bad, she'll fight you. If you're not Zeiche, if you want to do good, she'll fight you. If you want to do bad, she'll help you. So, but the truth is, she's the argumentative person in the family. She's going to be there to straighten you out. That's her job. So that's an Ezer Kenegdoi. Okay. Now, an Eitz Hadas, what is the purpose of an Eitz Hadas? It's like Chaza. What do you mean Chaza? Chaza is the thing that the world wants to argue with you and say, you're a bunch of hypocrites. You say God created the world, right? And if he created the world, he obviously put something in the food, into the system, Chaza, which is totally edible. Nothing in it that's not edible. You make pachad of its hoofs, you make kishke out of its stomach, you make yirbinis out of its skin, and it's totally edible. So how come you don't eat it? So the logic is, you're right. I should be able to eat it, except God said no. That's the Eitz Hadas too. Same thing. Nothing wrong with this tree. Looks beautiful. I'd like to eat it. Eitz Hara I probably don't have. You don't have a Eitz Hara to eat something you never experienced yet. But I wouldn't mind trying it. I think that. Except God said can't. I can't. So that proves there's a God in the world. There's an owner. There's a guy who says you can't do what you want to do. Okay. So what happened was he did eat in the end from it. We'll talk about it, what actually caused it to do it. But he did eat actually from the Eitz Hadas. And when he ate from the Eitz Hadas, all of a sudden he became wise. What did he become wise in? So there's concept shortem, which I don't understand. And again, there's a Eitz Hara that's in the inside, and it's on the outside. One thing I saw that they did, that he did learn, Mayim genuvim yimtoku. If something is forbidden, it's sweet. If it's not forbidden, it's not sweet. And therefore, when you have, because there's a thrill in going against the rules. And that's the point. And that's what he learned. And that was a big Eitz Hara, because now I want to see what it feels like. What is it going to do to me? Okay, and that's what this big Eitz Hara are always fighting. Otherwise, why are you fighting the Eitz Hara? They tell you it's no good for you. So why are you fighting it? I don't believe you. Why don't I believe you? I want to see if it's no. Okay, so that's the Okay, anyway, he separates the man and woman, and now they're able to relate as two individuals. Now, there's comes a story is what the kavan of the Nachash was. The Nachash wanted to kill Adam and therefore have a chava for himself. If that's what he wanted to do, so why did he give chava to each of the Eitzadas? He didn't know what was going to happen. So obviously that wasn't it. No, he was the head of all the animals. He wanted to be destroying of mankind. That's what he wanted, not man or woman. He wanted to destroy mankind. Now, and the punishment ultimately that he got is because he was knocked off his, he lost his feet, he was called. There are other animals that call. What is the Nachash? Nachash is a snake. I see a lot of snakes. Snakes are not done. I mean, I don't want to play around with them, but there's garden snakes. Guys really know the difference. Garden snakes don't bother you. They crawl on the ground too. And this is talking about poisonous snakes, talking about guys that tied you. And we saw the earthworm was able to eat sand all the time. Be happy. No, it's not a belittlement by the fact that you only have to eat sand. But the idea is that you were a higher being and you became nothing. That's the point. Then you can lose it all. And these others were created that way. Created that way is no kashi. Now, why did Adam really eat it? I mean, he shouldn't have eaten it. And if he diced it into his regular food, so he was an honest. So what do you want from him? You can't say that to his chai for being an honest. But he could have been someone I remember learned in Shiva, claimed that Adam made a choice to eat from the Eitz Hadas, that he should also die. No, it shouldn't be that just Sova died. I mean, Chava dies. Okay.
It'll be the same time that he'll be an echad. It'll be the same time that he'll be an echad over other men and over other.
Could be. I don't know why we've done it. Or could be that Pshat is that this is what the Beraishis wanted, and the thing that they should be man and woman together. So that was it. Now, it doesn't say he was naked. He knew he was naked. So what do you mean he was naked? Everybody knows you're naked. So Rashi says, Orum and mitzvahs. I was naked for mitzvahs. I had one mitzvah and I killed it. So what's pshat in that? You had one mitzvah and you killed it. Food, as I say, there's no yetzirah to eat food that you never tasted before. You walk in Chinatown, you don't go into the store and go buy everything that you never ate before and eat it up. Right? Guy buys it. Let me see what it tastes like, this and that. If I like it, then maybe I'll want to go and eat it again. But the first time, no big thing. So that's food. Mother food I can goof. So a yetzirah, which is part of me, which God created for the purpose of repopulation of the world. In other words, he made a strong yetzirah in there, just like food is a strong yetzirah. I'm hungry. I must eat. I must do this. I must do this. There's certain things that where your life depends on it. So obviously that's what you do. So therefore the Beraishis did that too. So I surely can't control myself in the thing. That's what it means, all the mitzvahs. Okay. The issue we won't talk about now. Yeah. So now the Seforim says, I'm going to kick them out from the gun, because now he's going to be like us. He's going to live forever. He eats from the Eitz HaChaim. So I asked you before, like, Adam Avishon was not a stupid man. He's smart, probably in Kishrum wise, the Chochmeh that the Rebbeinu put into Shlomo Melech, that I guess it says Chochmeh kol Adam asher b'nei Adam. So that's the knowledge. He gave him the knowledge. But in reality, what did he have? The Kishron, the memory, the understanding, and the thing that Adam Rishon had, I doubt it, because Adam Rishon was the creation of God. He's the perfection. There can be no one better than him, no one smarter than him, no one anything than him. So he should have gone and eaten from the Eitz Hadas, and then go and eat from the Eitz HaChaim. I mean, eating from the Eitz HaChaim, and then go eat from the Eitz Hadas. I mean, guarantees living. So this is my theory. Yeah. I believe that if he would have eaten from the Eitz HaChaim first, he would not have eaten from the Eitz Hadas. Of course, if a guy gets into it, now it will try to give somehow an uptouch of the Eitz HaChaim is mon. It's a ruchnistic life. Eitz Hadas is a gashmistic life, wheat and stuff like that. So once I go into a ruchnistic life, I'm not interested in the gashmis anymore. So he wouldn't have eaten from the Eitz Hadas. But once he ate from the Eitz Hadas, he's going to want to eat from the Eitz HaChaim, because now he got that mixture. You know, you want to be holy, but I don't want to be that holy. You know, stuff like that. Now you got a problem. That's why he wanted to see stop them over there. Okay.
And that's why he didn't eat from the Eitz HaChaim.
That's why I didn't eat from the Eitz Hadas, from the Eitz HaChaim first.
Because he knew that if he
would not want it.
And he just wanted the Eitz Hadas.
Right. For whatever reason. Now, to understand the korbanos of Cain and Hevel, obviously the originator of korbanos is Cain, not Hevel. So how come he got the word end of the deal? Because he didn't make a cheshbon of to give the best. Now let's understand them. Adam was cursed already. So you have to work hard to make a living. And before Noach was born, it was a hit and miss. You can plant whatever you want and get something completely different. After Noach, it became, if I plant wheat, I'm going to get wheat. Until Noach, it was not that way. So therefore, I don't know if God's going to bless me with food. And he gave me food. So how am I going to destroy food in order to make a korban to Kodesh Baruch Hu? It's about tashchis. It's going to mean wasting it. Well, you could have given some rotten tomatoes. No, there's no such thing as rotten tomatoes. Rotten tomatoes makes a good ketchup. It makes a good, what do you call it, tomato soup and stuff like that. Hard tomato makes a sandwich. So there's different tomatoes. It's not the same tomato. So what he gave was the flaxseed, which was not an actual food, even though B'zman Hazeh it's a food. It was a laxative and stuff, but in those times it wasn't a food. But it wasn't the best. But then let's look at Hevel. Hevel gave a sheep. He couldn't eat meat anyway. So what was the point of the sheep? Oh, so you got to say, well, he had clothes, so he needed the wool. He had milk, we could have drank. That's not killing a person. I mean, an animal. So he gave up that ability to have milk and wool from the animal. Okay.
We have plenty of other animals, no? That's not such a sacrifice, but I mean, yeah, other animals. To other animals, one person, many other animals.
Well, he put it down and the Beraishis took it. He wanted to give it that good. What does it mean? You want to give it good? God made it, so what are you giving him? All of us, I want to show some sign of hakara, that you did something for me. I want to do something for you. Obviously, I can't create anything, so I'm giving you what you gave me. But I'm still trying to do the best I can.
You give it an ox, no? You could give it an ox is much bigger. Keep it small, give it an ox, a cow.
Yeah, what's a cow? What's a cow do for me? I can't eat a cow. Huh? So milk, that's what I'm saying. So milk and wool. That's a sheep. It wasn't a cow. He didn't give me sheep, no cows. He gave you sheep. Sheep, he does twice as much as a cow does.
An ox to say he wasn't a worker, so an ox had no meaning, or a donkey.
Well, yeah,
He had to be kosher, I guess.
it had to be kosher, probably.
But an ox is kosher, but it's not as kosher because he's not a dog.
Yeah, but it doesn't do anything. So what am I giving you?
How's the field?
Something I can't use. I'm giving you. What plows the field, but I don't work the field.
Work the field, doesn't it?
No, I don't need it.
I assume they had some that water system to benefit.
How do I know?
Their family, they
Okay.
did this idea.
Okay. Now it's not so push. The Rashi brings down the two midrashim about when Cain got held kills. One of them is about Cain killed him. I mean that Lemach killed him, and the other pshat is he died in a mabul. If he died in a mabul, he's the longest living human being ever. Okay. Then I thought about it. Why did God make that they live so long? Why this guy lives 1,000 years? Not quite. No one lives 1,000 years, but whatever it is, way longer than I think. You know, and imagining it, it's even. Can't see it's boring. I don't know if you ever heard the expression, when Chanukah chases Pesach, I know I'm getting old. No, it's as soon as I think about Chanukah time, I'm finished. Oh, I got to worry about Pesach. Pesach, Purim is coming in a few months. You know, you've got a long time to the Pesach. Nah, it's coming. I'm getting old. Guy lived 987 years, 89 years, maybe, or 982. Yered, Mishishelach. I mean, he must have been going like this. Because the baby sleeps all day, doesn't think there, because every hour they're up is 1/24 of their life. As I say, so they have to sleep. But a guy is up. This is 1/10 of a millionth of my life, whatever it is, 100th of my life, 1,000th of my life. A day doesn't mean anything to Mishishelach. Okay. So I said, but again, why do you make him? It could be that if you take a look at the children of Lemech, that one is was a nomad, not only that one. The other one's a musician. The other one is the one who made all the tools. You know, to invent these things takes time. And in history, what we've done is one builds on the other. Right, but we've had a lot of mistakes made. And because of that, it would be better if the same person made the whole thing himself. I think that was the reason, to get things to develop to the needs of the people that was necessary. Then it says he gave birth to Sheish. He took back 130 years later, took back a wife because they gave Other Musa and the nation, the Shein Lemech. He was telling him, you know, what it's going to be, you know, he's going to be a mabul. They don't want to have children. And so you have to have. So they asked him, so what about you? So he went and took back Chava, and he had a child. And he had Sheish. So Sheish is an Indian, it's in Indian. This is the Goyen, I think, makes this the yuk. His tachas, it says, my Sheish goes, but not over here, but when he counts the generations, he says, he gave birth to someone that looked like him in his form. But he couldn't pass that on to his child. So his child was a shrimp, Enish. And therefore Enish was the first guy who had an inferiority complex, who thought about the idea that if anybody's bigger than me, I have to serve them. And therefore he made gods into many things. But what the time is, because he was the first creation that became small. Cain's family all remained giants. Only thing there. Only Shesh's family went down. Okay. Then I wanted to say the reason the animals didn't, the fish didn't die in the Mabul, because they were not created for human beings, created for God. Whatever that means with the Taninim and stuff like that, that's God's place. Torah is water, water is the Olam Elyon, so the Olam HaTachton, that's reserved for God, is water, and therefore fish did not die. In Rosh Hashiva gave a pshat to what pshat noach motzachim b'nei Hashem. Obviously, he was picked for godless. He was a Noilad Mol, so on. So Shem was a Noilad Mol. But in motzachim b'nei Hashem says chen doesn't mean the guy's a good guy. But the guy, when he wants to do good, he does it with such feeling and emotion that somehow you always feel good about that kid, even though he could get in a lot of trouble sometimes. He's still a yeled shashuyim. He's a kid that says, so that's noach motzachim b'nei Hashem. He found chen, found like favor, whatever it is. Yeah, that's this. We'll talk about Noach next week, which again, even though we got a full week to be Mavis Sedra, Afal PK, I don't think we have Menuchas HaNefesh to really be Mavis Sedra Noach, because what they call. So again, the same thing, because we don't understand too much about what happened over there, and all different theories that we'll try to discuss if we can. Mi'etz Hashem. So Mi'etz Hashem, have a good Shabbos, and Mi'etz Hashem next week. I think we're going to go into the winter's man mode of 11 to 12, the shiur. And the weeks that I'll have to be about conventions and stuff, we'll let you know before. Thank you very much. Have a good Shabbos and good evening.